Dear Twin Flame souls out there, welcome to the Twin Flame Awakening Journey podcast, and today's an episode 187. Today's episode, we are going to talk about the inner union and the Kundalini energy, because there is a reason why I am very passionate about Kundalini and so-called inner union, because when these two work together, the magic begins. And we are just now back from our Italy retreat, which was all about love. And again, I was able to witness what happens when the energy starts to work, when the energy brings us to oneness, when the energy brings us to union. Things that happened on Italy retreat are still a little bit difficult to explain, because like I said, no matter how many pictures, videos, and we have a wonderful photographer on the place, this has to be felt, lived, and only these who were there can understand it. But of course, this time the retreat was all about love. And for me, love is where we do everything together. Love is not only one-sided. Love is not giving, and love is not only receiving. Love is a magic of everything. And that is also a beauty of Twin Flame Journey. So when we are on the Twin Flame Journey and we are in so-called separation, or you don't know about your twin, you don't know what is happening with them, there is this emptiness, you feel alone, you feel you're going crazy, and you don't have the answers, and you're looking the answers outside of you because of hoping that someone will validate your feelings, or someone will tell you, so-called someone is your twin flame, that yes, I love you, yes, I felt the same way as you did, will bring us peace. But after being on this journey for quite some time already, I can tell you that this will not bring you peace. The inner union within you will bring you the peace. At the end of today's podcast, of course, I will walk you through a little bit what happened on our Italy retreat. There were happening things that no one can explain. And at the same time, it feels so obvious and real. The place that I rented with this guy, first he thought that I'm a scammer, that why do I want to do the retreat there? What is the reason? And my answer when he called me was like, well, I don't know. The energy asked me to go there. I have no reason. I don't know why I have to be here, but the energy is telling to me that this is the place, this is where the union happens, this is where we're going to all meet. Why? Something higher and knows better. And that's what I can call either it's Kundalini or awareness or however. The thing is that I also know that many of you cannot join all of the workshops or all of the retreats and all of this. There are always situations. And that's why this year it's beautiful that on the 8th of August, our beautiful Lionsgate portal will have a full day retreat in your own home, where we're going to do these exact same things we were doing at the retreats, which are extremely powerful. I'm going to share on Instagram what people said, how within a day or two, their timeline shifted and how things started to happen to them. And I've said that many times on my journey, that everything I do because I have tried them. I've seen how it works. And that's why I am very passionate, and my big love is Kundalini. And that's why today I want to talk about this on this Twin Flame Journey. Because no matter how many times you do the affirmation, no matter how much you look yourself in the mirror and you try to figure this out and you try to understand everything and make sense of this journey and everything, until you do not change, number one, your nervous system, until you don't let go of your body, what is blocking, you can do whatever you want, it will not work. Another thing is the subconscious, when we shift it. And that's why Kundalini is very powerful. It will put you on a path, it will show you the way, and it will bring you to the inner union that you are looking for. One of the biggest misconceptions on Twin Flame Journey is that I cannot feel the love and peace if I don't have that person. And that is not true at all. And that is one of the things that we first start feeling on this journey. when we meet in our so-called twin flame, we start feeling very deeply towards that person. It's like, I have never done drugs in my life, but I've heard from others that who have done drugs in their life, they feel the high, they feel the connection, they understand everything. And now their mind starts to believe that if I don't have this, I can't feel this. And there is a reason for that. Why? Because there is an emptiness inside of us. So now our mind projects it outside of thinking, oh, but if I take this drug, for example, I'm going to feel the high and elevated. If I'm going to receive the message from my twin, I'm going to feel high and elevated. I'm going to feel connected. I am in a union. I'm all of that. And then again, it drops down. We are humans, and I've always said we are humans and we are emotions. We are also chemical beings. We have the hormones. We have so many chemical reactions happening inside of us. Love is also proven chemically. But I'm talking of a spiritual love and inner union because of no matter what, and I am totally okay when people would say that so-called twin flames are not real, the energy is not real, this is not what happens. Because I always say, come to the retreats and see what happens. The owner of the place who rented us this beautiful villa, the things that happened there, he was like, this is insane. I cannot believe that. So I'm just going to say that people who don't believe in it, that's absolutely wonderful. And I can understand from their perspective as well, because they have never experienced something like this. But you who are listening right now and questioning yourself, is that what I'm feeling, the other people's energy? Am I seeing things? Why are these things there? Are they real? I'm here to tell you that you are absolutely right and real. There is no doubt in that. Right before we're going to dive into today's, all of the inner union and energy, why I want to talk about this, because the inner union will not happen with the mind, and I will explain you in detail. On this retreat where we were, what made me extremely happy, there was this beautiful woman who said, I was able to experience the inner union in 5D in my deep meditations. And now being here, I live that inner union. And that is powerful. That is something that now I can experience this in 3D. She also had in one of the Kundalini activations, or in the trauma release and Kundalini activations, she had that experience of meeting a God, meeting the light. And you know, when I hear these stories, when I hear people tell me that I experienced meeting a God, meeting a light, I know exactly what they're talking about, because that happened to me. I've said millions and millions of times, I am not here going to tell you, I'll get your twin back to your life and you get married and you have this. Because everything will happen when you are in alignment and union. And believe me, even better things will happen. And then you wonder, why did I want it only this? God is giving me so much magic. So it's not only from the place of that. And I know when our mind is saying, and right now when you would be listening to me, you'll be like, I don't care about anything else. I want my twin flame in my life. That is the ultimate goal. Then I will be the happiest person. I will be married to my twin and I will have this. And that is beautiful. And I'm sure you're going to have this. But when you have this from the place of alignment, it's even more magical. The life becomes a magic. And I don't believe even for once that so-called twin flames are in this world, around the world, by accident. There is a reason why we are here. There's a reason we got activated this way. I kind of know the reason. And that's why one of the reasons I do the retreats or I do the workshops is to remind you. Because all of this is already inside of you. Now we need to remember, because the whole story is to remember again. Believe me, you've been here before. You've done this before. It's not the first time. But we forget when we come. And then we are reminded through love. And then we have to find our way back. So Let's start from today. And like I said, at the end of the podcast, I will be talking about our Italy retreat. The things that happened are unbelievable to explain, but I want to share it because it was such a beautiful retreat. And until upon the retreat, I was thinking, why the heck am I going to Italy? Because we normally don't do the retreats in the middle of the summer. We have either the very intense Mahashivaratri, which is always the most intense, and then we have a Cyprus one 11/11 portal, but nothing in between. But when we were there and experiencing, the energy was so high that I tell you, people's hair was standing up. People's hair was standing up, which we of course later on came to know that it's a very dangerous situation to be in. But at that time, when we see that how everyone's hair is standing up, we had a lot of laugh about it. But I get into that if you're interested of knowing and hearing, and I just say it as well. I know that not everyone can travel. I know that not everyone has these possibilities. 8 of 8, this is Saturday. You can join the full day online in your own home. We have about 7 workshops, I think, on that day. So it's an intense day, but it will bring you to the highest timeline. And I really would like to say, don't miss that. You don't have to join my workshops. You don't have to come of this, but find yourself a time on that day. If you are thinking, why my manifestations are not happening the way I want, why this, why that, because we are going deep and also working with this energy. And then, of course, Cyprus Retreat, we have 4 places, I think, available. But the good news this year is that you don't have to join the full week. You can join a 1 day, 2 day, or 3 day. You can find your own accommodation nearby. So you do not have to join the full retreat. Although I'm going to say what is beautiful is when you are living together. This time, when the people left Italy, they are one family. They are one. And that's what it was for them to become one. Anyways, all the information is on twinflameawakeningjourney.com. If the lion tickets are not yet out there, you don't see it, they're going to be there anytime. It just might take some time for the upgraded because we are moving to the new website. All right. Let me explain about what is inner union. Even though I'm going to say that I'm going to explain you what is inner union, I'm here to tell you that inner union cannot be understood. It has to be felt. And that's another reason why I'm so passionate about the Kundalini energy. Because Kundalini will bring you to the connection with a oneness where you all of a sudden you feel you're one with everything. You're one with the birds, you're one with the wind, you're one with the sun, you're one with the neighbor across you. You are one. And when you experience this oneness, your life changes 180 degrees. Now you will be thinking over there, what's the point of that? But I just want to tell you, I want to bring you back on the day when you met your twin and you experienced oneness. When you experienced something so divine that you cannot explain. There is no way of finding words. But all had happened. And there is a misconception out there, which I hear it over and over again. I cannot feel the same love or the same connection with a life if I don't have them. And I really highly recommend when you're listening to this podcast today, change that. You can. Believe me, you can. You can feel the love every day the same way like you met your twin, and this is magic. So let's start with the truth. And social media, unfortunately, doesn't help us always on this journey because the social media algorithm and the dopamine will make you to say your twin is your ultimate love. The only love is your twin. If you're gonna have anybody else, you are a failure. This is not real. This is not true. And I'm going to say that it's a very, very hard jail to be in. I'm not going to say that you have to find another partner. I'm not going to say that you have to date other people and all of this. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that if you have a fixed belief that that person is the only happiness, I'm going to say that you are going to be feeling loneliness, sadness, because you're looking it outside. And let me explain you step by step. So when you heard so-called twin flame union, I just would like to pause you for a moment and say, when you hear twin flame union, where does your mind go? What is the first thing you feel? Do you feel or hear that, it goes right to the other person, it goes right to your twin. Twin flame union means the other person. The reunion. The moment they finally see you, choose you, and come home to you. But here is one of the lessons, and this is one of the lessons of Twin Flame Journey. Union is never outside of you. And I think many of you have read about the manifestation books, you have read about the nervous system, you have read about all of this. You keep on hearing this, that your inner world reflects the outer world. So now you'll be thinking, oh, wait a minute. So that means I am doing something wrong. And I don't like that either. I don't believe none of us are doing anything wrong on this journey. It's not about right and wrong. And I also want to say it's not about mission. It's actually about becoming and remembering. You have it all inside of you. When I was there with the 17 people who were lying down, and I could see how they remember themselves, how they connect back to the one that they were actually. Against all the odds, they remembered who they were. And it sounds crazy, but for me, when I see that people are living from their alignment and their truth, it's just like it's a magic to me. I feel like, oh my God, this person is alive. So I'm going to explain about inner union now. So inner union is somehow a sacred marriage of your own divine feminine and your divine masculine energies. That's why sometimes when I hear about this, that your divine masculine is this, your divine masculine is that. And I know in the beginning of my journey, I had it the same way. I separated everything. So my twin was separated from me. He was so-called divine masculine. I labeled him as a runner. I did all of that because of that's what I was receiving, and it was easier for my mind to process all of it. Because when we are at the state of separation, it's very, very difficult to understand it. And you will not. Because something now is awakened you. Something is shifting, and that's the reason I love Kundalini. Not at the time when it was almost brutally killing me. I didn't like that at the time. I thought I'm gonna die. But Kundalini works with our nervous system and works with our subconscious. That's why everything will change in our life. Because of inner world shifts. Your inner world shifts and your outer world becomes that. So when I said that this is a sacred marriage of your divine feminine and divine masculine, one of the key elements of inner union is when you start separating yourself and your twin. I know it works wonders for the mind, and it gives us some sort of a comfort in the beginning. But if you can, and you're listening to this today, start shifting this. Really simply start shifting and see how the magic will begin. So the feminine within you is your intuition, your ability to feel, to flow, to trust. And the masculine within you is your direction, your structure, your ability to hold, to protect, to act. But when we are on this journey and when it happens to us, most of these energies are in the side of the war within us. I had it very deeply. My feminine energy was in fight with war with the divine masculine, because I truly believed that I have to work hard, I have to suffer, I have to get things when I'm on one of my biggest things was control. I believed if I control everything, everything is okay. while my feminine was saying, let go of the control, allow things to come and happen. I know that the stories I'm telling today and the way I live today, if I would go 5 years back and I would look at the version of me, I would say, that's not possible. That's not real. I don't believe in this kind of thing. Yeah, another mumbo jumbo, this and that. Yes, of course. But as I've been now 5 years of this journey and working with this beautiful energy, also destructive energy, I see more and more and more how we are creating it and how our nervous system, how our subconscious, how the energy is all at play. So me thinking and me being in control now working out very well. But none of these stories I would have believed before I experienced it. That's why I can totally understand when I explain about the inner union, or when I say to the people that these things will happen, that until they don't experience, they don't understand. And that is so okay. But when that happens, my heart melts. Because then we speak the language of the God, we speak the language of the oneness, the inner union. So as I said, these energies are going to be in a war inside of you. So the feminine doesn't trust the masculine because of our inner masculine has abandoned us before. We have broken promises to ourselves. We have override our intuition. We pushed when we needed to rest. And the masculine doesn't listen to the feminine because we were taught that feelings is weakness and logic is safety. How many times we feel that when I have the answer, one of the things we can see on social media when somebody says, but science said that. And then everybody's like, yes, you see, I knew it. But the knowing came from the inner. The knowing came from your intuition. The knowing came from somewhere. And now the fact that someone proved it, you're like, yes, you see, it's the truth. But the truth is you knew it all the time. So the fact that science says that or doesn't actually doesn't change anything. But the word science gives us this, that's the truth. And I used to be one of them. I'm a very much who loves to read, who loves to make sense of it. I tell you a little side story over here, because my husband is Hindu, and he comes from the background, and he talked to me once a story when it was the very beginning of our dating, and I was non-religious, didn't believe in anything. And he told me a story of, yes, you know, there are gods who are still like 200 years old or 300 years old, and they're living in Himalayas or some kind of a mountain somewhere, and they do this and do that. And I looked at him and I said, Jesus Christ, where is your proof? Have you seen them? Have you been there? And he talked so passionately about it. And now for me, it's like in everything there is a truth one way or another. And so maybe, yes, they weren't there. But it doesn't mean that there aren't people who can connect to certain things, certain ways. So I think it's the same thing is a little bit with Santa Claus. I explained that another time that, yeah, Santa Claus is not real. But somehow it is real. Every child who dreams of, oh, Santa will bring me a bicycle, somehow receives the bicycle. So somehow everything is real and at the same time it's not. But for us to not to trust and not to connect to it will not bring us closer. It brings us further away. So what do we do? So with what starts happening on this journey? We project that our inner war into our twin flame connection. So this is exactly what happens in the beginning. The runner and the chaser. The one who feels a lot and then it feels that the other one doesn't feel anything. That's not true either. Everyone's journey is unique. I always said everyone's journey is unique. Everyone's awareness, everyone's stages are different. But some twins feel the separation at the same time, same painfully and very hard way. The other ones might have a difference, and there's a one that cannot feel anything at that time because they are not ready. But as I say this with a lot of love now, a lot of love, the runner and chaser dynamic is not happening to you. It's happening within you, and it's mirrored outward. So as long as your divine feminine and your divine masculine are at the war within each other, the same is going to happen outside. Even if your twin is going to be in your life, even if you're going to be in a relationship. And I speak that from the very place, from the love, as I work with many of you who are in so-called relationship, and we can call that union. And I know nobody believes me until it happens to them. Because our belief system is that I'm going to have my twin in my life. That is the main goal. And I tell you, this is the easiest goal. It's the easiest goal to have in your life, your twin back. And sooner or later, it's going to happen. Sooner or later. That's not at all a problem. Maybe the hardest goal is to live your life from the place of love. Because the more we are projecting outwards, the harder it becomes. The inner union is what's happening when those of these energies stop fighting and they start dancing with one another. And I always say that it's not about that feminine energy is good and the masculine is bad. I believe I have shared that from my previous podcast, but I just share it again. When I was at the Kundalini activation training, and I said that my masculine was always more active, meaning of that I always took action. I was always protector. I was always a provider. I fixed everybody for everything. I worried about them when it was their problem, but I felt I am responsible for that. I have to control everything. And I remember lying down there, and I idolized feminine energy. I went, yes, look, those who are in their feminine energy, they receive things simply. They have so much beauty in them. They are attractive. They are this. And I didn't have that. And then I remember lying down there, and my masculine energy came through me and said to me, why do you punish me? Why do you put me down? Thanks to me, you have received and you are where you are. Because you took action when I asked you to take action. You did the steps, and then I realized that's true. The feminine was guiding me, but the masculine was the one where I took action. But sometimes I was more in my masculine. But they are not against each other. And when your inner masculine finally says to your inner feminine, I got you. You're safe to feel. You're safe to open. And your inner feminine says back, I trust you. I let the life move through me. This is the union. Everything else is going to be the reflection of it. And that's one of a beautiful thing I often, and again, I'm not going to say here that it's a shame, or I don't even have like a word for this really. But what I'm trying to say to you here is that your inner world will reflect the outer world, plus you are the one who is creating it. And there is so much power how you can create that. And what's for me also on the retreats or workshops, retreats are more intimate, of course, because in the workshops I see you on the screen, and sometimes I don't even see you because I don't ask anybody to put the camera on or anything. But one beautiful thing of inner union, what I mean is when I'm close to people, how they reflect my inner world to me. How they, each one of the person shows me who I am. And that is a little interesting thing to see. I love that. I love that. And when they talk, I feel they talk of me. So now let's move from inner union. That is what is inner union. Divine feminine, divine masculine. Shiva, Shakti. Those of you who've been to Mahashivaratri, they know Shiva and Shakti within. The both energies have to work together. They are not against each other. And this is why I keep on repeating today. The more you are separating my runner, him, he's doing this way, look, he doesn't understand, the more you are bringing the separation in. Although I'm going to add here another thing. We do always need a contrast in our life. We need to see the other side. So that's why we are a man and a woman in this world. There's a yin and a yang. There's day and a night. There's a love and there's separation. Because without the contrast, we don't understand what it is. If there wouldn't be a man in this world, we women wouldn't understand we are women. We are just human. Just human. Nothing. Same for men who are listening. That if there wouldn't be a woman in this world, you would be a man and you would be just a human. You wouldn't see the difference. Everybody would be the same. So we always, the God or the simulation or the universe is made on polarities and made on the understanding. The mirror has to be, because also if you look at yourself in a mirror, it's always a reflection. It's not direct, you know that. It's a very strange, I know that some museums or some like kind of things, places, they do that they have the direct mirror and you see yourself completely differently there. Because we always see the opposite. You see in your mirror the opposite side. You don't see the direct side. So the world is a mirror and it's beautiful in its own way, and we are not supposed to, how do I say, eliminate this. We are supposed to live in it. But why I talk today so passionately about it is because when you are able to overcome from that, this journey shifts and changes drastically. And you come closer to your twin, to your everybody than ever before. So now let's talk about the Kundalini and why I love it. Kundalini is my love. And on Italy retreat, where I also split the teams into two, that there was a way of receiving and the other team was facilitating, and so on and so on. And why did I do this? Because everything I do is love in my life. And I always want others to experience my love too. And now when I use the word a little bit, I want others to experience my love too, is not that, oh, look at what it is. But it is something that has changed my life so much. And it was changed from the day I met my twin. Because that is the moment where so-called my Kundalini got activated. Spontaneously, we want to call it. We were actually ready. That's why you meet your twin. The Kundalini gets activated when you meet your twin. Maybe not immediately, maybe not on the first one, but it will happen anytime soon from there. Another beautiful thing is also when we do the Kundalini activations, that sometimes when you are in a space and all of this, you might not feel as tensely, and then you go to sleep and you soften, and it happens powerfully. It's intelligent energy, it knows, and that's why it's my love. And when I was able to share this love with others, my heart expanded into another universe or another galaxy, or however we want to call it. Sharing my love is something that fills me more than anything in this world. So, the Kundalini, why I talk about the Kundalini. Kundalini and twin flames, what is the common of here? Why? So, everybody has Kundalini within themselves. Kundalini is your life force energy. And it somehow, when it awakens, like I said, it goes through your body and will reach the crown. That's where we feel the oneness with the God. That's where we feel the oneness with everything. And when I met first my twin and this happened, for me was that the time and space disappeared. And I know when we talk in the words that time and space disappeared, what do you mean? I know logically that the time was 45 minutes but it felt that I traveled across the world. I traveled across the time, that it was like warped. That's what I could say. And I remember when I came out of it, this 45 minutes, which felt like I've been somewhere else. And I think when we watch the Interstellar movie, there we can see how the time is different in planetaries and all of that. Maybe that's what gives us the closest understanding. When I came out of it, I felt, oh, I must be falling sick. Something is weird in me. I don't, what just happened? Yes, I consciously know. I was in the car, I was driving a car, but what, and like I said, I cannot put this into words. And that's why when somebody explains me of their journey and things that happen, I know what happened, but we cannot maybe explain it in 3D. But now why I talked about the inner feminine, inner masculine. And here is something that nobody really actually tells you, that Kundalini itself is the union of the feminine and masculine. So now if I put this on the board over here, you look at the board, you arrived and met your twin. Both of your inner feminine and inner masculine weren't in alignment, whichever way, however it was. Now the Kundalini was an explosion. Poof, happened. The union. You felt first time the union. You felt you arrived home. You felt the magic. You felt the love that you cannot describe. Because the Kundalini showed you what is the real union inside of you and who you truly are. And I want to say one more another thing. Those of you who have been activated with so-called Kundalini, it's not anymore that you can go back to your old life. So you better start practicing it. You better start meditating. You better start connecting it with today. Because once it's activated, it's not something that you're going to say, hey, go back to sleep. I want to be the old me. I want to be the old Lisa, or I want to be the old Maria, or I want to be this. It doesn't exist anymore, my dear. It's not there. So, I spoke about this very briefly as well. I said that the Kundalini is Shiva and Shakti, the divine feminine, pure creative life force, and it's Shiva, pure divine consciousness, the masculine. So it's at the ground of yours. And the entire journey of Kundalini is going through the body, is the feminine ascending to meet the masculine. And so when they meet, it is the meeting at the crown. And this is called sacred marriage, a bliss, a oneness that you have never ever experienced before. And when I now talk about this, I know exactly where you are at. In the beginning, I was trying to make sense of the twin flame journey. I was trying to make sense of my twin. I was trying to make sense of what's going on with me. I Googled, I researched, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, I didn't know what's going on with me. And that's okay. But now if you're listening to this podcast over here, I'm going to say to you that the earlier you surrender, the more magical this journey will become. And for example, if it doesn't happen right away, I just want to say also that there is help out there. I'm not saying that you have to connect to me, that you have to have a call with me, you have to understand I will do the activations. No, not work, come to the retreats or workshops. I don't say come to me. But I also say that look around you. The help is reaching to you every single point. I had help coming on my way. And I am forever thankful for that, because the universe knew, okay, you cannot handle this. Let me send you this shaman. Let me send you this healer. Let me put you on that retreat. My life was falling apart in every single angle. And yet it actually fell into a place in a beautiful way. And that's the reason I love what I do. Or I do what I do.
I don't really have an option here. A lot of times often people say to me, oh, you're going to do this, you're going to do this. And I just say to them, hey, it's not me. The divine will tell me and I will go and I will do. And if you go back, it's a very interesting on Kundalini. I really highly recommend you to read the books if you're interested of that, because it's all connected and it improves our health. We become younger, we become radiant, you become better in health. It's so magical. Right before I had our Italy retreat, I had an inner dance done to me by a beautiful soul who is now also a facilitator in our group. And again, I died there. And we would think of a death as it's scary, but it's so beautiful how everything stops. And then all of a sudden you get a fully electrified. It's like, I don't know how to explain that. But that is the reason when we do the retreats or workshops that you get to experience this. And all of a sudden, you are in a new timeline. Magic begins. So listen to the guidance. Listen who is there. There's no point of staying in a suffering and make the suffering your identity. Because you can change and shift that. And I wanted to add here also that there are the maps. Like if you go back in the ancient scriptures, you see that it's written there and it's describing exactly what the twin flame journey is teaching us. The feminine and masculine separated, longing for each other, moving towards reunion inside of one body, your body. Your twin flame connection didn't invent this longing, it activated it. So why now these two things work beautifully together and why I'm so passionate about it? Number one, it changed my life. When I experienced this oneness, and also when I experienced the first time twin flame activation with a twin flame, it changed me. And I am forever thankful for this. This is why I could never feel repellent towards my twin. I could never be angry. I could never be like, oh, yes, I never had that. I had one time the anger when I was in so much pain and I thought, am I the only one? Am I the only one who is suffering so badly right now, right here, and he's living his life and like nothing ever happened to him? Which wasn't the truth. My twin flame went through the same thing. It broke him. But I had never had this. And when I heard also in the retreat where some soul said that all I can feel is that one unconditional love for my twin. Not because of where we are and maybe they don't talk to me. And then there was this other, again, the same beautiful soul whose twin went to rehab on that same weekend and she realized every work I do on myself. And now when I use the word work, I don't really like the word work because it feels like I have to do it. I feel every single shift when we connect to our soul, when we connect to our inner world, will reflect on others. That's why when we sit down and we say, why they don't change, why this is not happening, nothing's going to change. But when we sit down and we go deeply within, the magic will begin. So now let's bring these two together because of the heart today's transmissions, because this is the heart of today's transmission. And like I said, Italy stole our hearts and brought them into oneness. Inner union is the destination and Kundalini is the vehicle of yours. You will not be able to think your way to inner union. And I know because I tried, I made sense of it, I blocked, I removed, I was in my ego trying to find it out. I'll do this and this will happen, I'll do this and this will happen, and I'll do this and then that magic will happen. No. No, no, no. You can understand the runner and chaser dynamic absolutely perfectly, and it will make so much journal about it. You can journal about your inner masculine every morning, and still you might feel the ache of separation in your chest. And why does it happen? Because the inner union is not the mental concept. It is an energetic state. You believe me or you don't believe me, everything is energy. And we get to this, I explain you what happened on the Twin Flame retreat, how everything is energy. And energy states require energy to shift. In one of the episodes, I spoke about it before, where I said about it how I calculate the frequency, how I see the frequency. Like I look at the numbers and I put together. Because we are somehow like radio stations. And some of your frequency is 99.9. Some of you are listening to radio right now, let's say 88.9. And that is the frequency where the sound comes from. And it's the same with you. And that is where the Kundalini comes in. Because in order to shift the energy, the Kundalini is the one who's going to shift it. Now, I'm going to say that Kundalini has many names. Chi, Prana, life force. That's why breath work, Qigong, Kundalini activation, Kundalini yoga, all of this is going to help you. When Kundalini energy moves through the body, it does something no amount of thinking can do. It clears the blockages where separation lives. Every place in your inner feminine that you learned it wasn't safe to open, that is stored in the body, every place of your inner masculine that, let's say, hardened or became stored is in your body. The nervous system holds the entire story of your separation, 100%. And this is why when we are arriving to the place that is safe and you can feel safety, number one, your nervous system relaxes. Number two, the Kundalini can change that. Again, I'm going to say I would have never believed that before. Never, ever. But now I've been working with this energy and seeing the magic of this. I say, yeah, prove me differently. Show me that it's not real. Yes, I cannot physically bring it to you. But I know what it does. And now talking of a science, I know we are like, yes, it has to be scientifically make sense of it. It has to be this, it has to be that. And there is a proof of that, actually. Again, our cells, in scientific approach, our cells respond to the energetic and emotional environment we hold. And we know that our heart, we always know that it's the largest electromagnetic field in the body. And this is the field where everything happens. And when the heart, mind, and nervous system comes into alignment, that's where you start to manifest. Some of you have heard of the word coherence. I know Joe Dispenza uses a lot of word of coherence. I use a word of alignment. We can use the word of rewiring. We rewire your brain, your system. But these are just the scientific words for somehow called the sacred marriage. The sacred marriage of oneness. So when the Kundalini rises, whether it's the activation session like you come, or breath work, meditation, spontaneous awakening, it is physically and energetically escorting your feminine and masculine energy back to each other. So it brings the movement. Sometimes we move, we shake, we have all of it because it brings the grounding where there was a chaos inside of you. So the Kundalini doesn't create the inner union, it reveals it by dissolving everything that was standing on the way. So it's like a destroyer. A Shiva is a destroyer. We know that. So why do I talk about this now? Because on Italy retreat, our theme was love and oneness, coming home to the oneness. And as I said before, that I didn't know why we have to go there. Again, it didn't make any sense. I fly across the world with my whole family. I have to bring my whole team. I have to get the place, which I don't know where we're going to be, but something inside of me, of course, whether we call it Kundalini, whether we call it awareness, however we call it, told us to be there. So I'm gonna walk you through a little bit what happened. Number one was let's start with an owner who rented us this place. So he's a logical guy. I think I even saw that he was in he had masters in science. He had like the diploma on the wall, and I said, well, my dear James, I'm going to challenge you, and that's showing you that the things you might have learned in science doesn't make any sense what you're gonna experience here. So, number one, like I said, the energy was very powerful. Everybody who were walking around, the lights were flickering absolutely everywhere. And they were just, you cannot make this up. They were absolutely flickering everywhere, and everyone can witness. They went to the toilet, they went to this, and this has never happened before. And I'm just going to say to you that I was there the night before. I already slept on this place. No lights were flickering. The moment twin flames were there, the lights were flickering every single corner. And even on the final night, a beautiful soul went to take some food, and the light is next to her, like going crazy. So, you don't believe in energy? Here we go. Another thing was that this James was telling to us that he was the owner of the place, and he was living next door, and he had a lunch, and he had a glass next to him. He didn't touch the glass, like a drinking glass. And all of a sudden, the full glass shattered into pieces. Everything into the smallest pieces. And he was like, what is this? I didn't even touch the glass. And so he tried to make logical sense of it, asked ChatGPT that, oh, what happened over here or what's there? And he said, oh, maybe the glass had a fracture and all of it. Yes, maybe or not. But like he said, it had never, ever happened to him before until we crazy souls arrived there. And then, of course, on the final day, which is not a surprise to me anymore at all, we took out the electricity. In the morning, I think it was like 10:30 or something, we came for our final closing. The electricity disappeared until 2 o'clock when they repaired it, and it literally blew up. So those of you who don't believe in energy, welcome to the world. And this is a very common on Twin Flame journey. Just to say that our Twin Flame retreats, we have in Bali, we kicked out the electricity. In Cyprus, we did the biggest storm like above us, all of this. And now talking of the storm, of course. Our theme of the retreat was about Hera and Poseidon. Even though Hera in the Greek mythology is a wife and a daughter, I think, or sister. It's so complicated, the whole Greek mythology of Zeus. And she was about a creativity force of creativity, everything to expand, everything to bring into creation. And when I realized why we were there, I realized, this is our inner feminine, a creative force. And I believe that everyone who were on this retreat, they are going to create something ultra magical in this world. Either they're going to create a business or love or book or podcast or movie or however, whatever is there, they're going to create something absolutely incredible because of the power of it. And so, as I said, the Hera and Poseidons, they were siblings, and we have both of their energies very strongly. Poseidon was from the seaside for us, and Hera, and a lot of people went to Hera's temple, which is one of the oldest Greek temples in there. I tell you, everything was divinely orchestrated. Unfortunately, I couldn't take the full team to the temple because of the time what we had, but I recommended for everyone to go. And everybody who went had the mystical experiences. Their bodies started to shake and shiver. I have some videos from some people who disappeared from the video. You can't make up these things. So I'm very glad they did that, because now they are filled with creative force. And Hera is a representing of course, marriage, very sacred, calm energy. And Poseidon is the ruler of the sea, emotions. and most untamed form, and I want to talk about it. So we had a boat trip planned, and we went on a boat. And all of the days was beautiful and everything, but on the day we went on a boat, thunderstorm came. And I told to James, can you ask the captain, is it safe to go for us? Because I can see that the thunder is coming. And James says to us that no problems, because it looks like the mountains will pull the storm away from it. Which is true. Living in the Mediterranean, I know that the weather can change very quickly. But then I also said to James, you don't know us. You have no idea who we are. And now I want to talk about something very crazy and very dangerous at the same time. So we went to the port. We're waiting for our boat to arrive to go for a 2-hour trip and swimming. And all of a sudden we start seeing how everyone's hair is standing up. And not only one or two. I'll try to share a few pictures, those who allow, on Instagram. And everyone's hair is standing up. And I am laughing like crazy because it was so funny. We were like, like charged with electricity, but that's what we were. We were charged with electricity. And I am laughing and I see everyone's hair standing. One by one, it's getting higher and bigger until my assistant calls up and says, this is super dangerous. You are in direct danger because now you are charged with electricity and it can hit you. The lightning can hit you anytime, any place. Seek for shelter. What are the possibilities? I don't know how many of you who are listening to this podcast right now have experienced lightning where your hair stands up. And we were 17 souls over there, actually 21 souls out there. Everyone's hair was standing up. Well, we still decided to go on the boat and had a trip with a boat, which was beautiful and at the same time very, very powerful. The Poseidon was really there and showing our emotions from the inner world, how it was washing them away, because when we came back, it was the biggest storm. The lightning was all over the place. But I also knew that it shows to us what we have left behind. And we were safe. We were absolutely safe. But it was a journey. And it was beautiful in its own way, of showing the power of a wind, the power of the waves, the power of everything. And that shows also the power within us. So the fact that I chose on our banner, Hera and Poseidon, made me laugh later on, because I had no reason. I always do everything intuitively. Why did I choose Hera and Poseidon there? Well, I came to know once we were there. So thank you for them. Thank you for the energy, for showing us. And then, of course, every other my assistant, she went to shop. Ticket 77. Watermelons either cost $6.66 or $7.74 or $7.77. Like there was no everything was. Signs were left and right. And one another thing is that is very beautiful. So this time we had also our beautiful soul facilitating breath work, and we could do the Kundalini at the same time. What a magical experience. Another person who has done quite a lot of breath work in her life, she said, I've never experienced something like that. I've never experienced going out of my body. And I know those of you who have listened to my podcast previously, I've told you many times how I have gone out of my body and how divine experience is this, and then how you're realizing that all of this is real. All of this is real, and just live in it. And when I hear the stories like that, you have no idea how my heart melts and how it becomes one, because of sometimes when we're experiencing something so divine, it's difficult to explain it until they're experiencing it. And that's the reason I do what I do. Same was with inner dance, of course. I had a very, very powerful experience for people who had never done this before. And some people, again, had a complete death, like I call it. It's a full reset. It's a full reset, and somehow you cannot control it. And when you are in a safe, open, receptive environment, the magic begins. And of course, I'm going to give a huge thank you for the land of Italy that gave us the birds, the mosquitoes, the ants, everything were somehow symbiosis that magic could happen. And the heart were opened. And I believe, I'm 100% believed from here on that so much love is going to happen. There is going to be, of course, marriages. There are going to be, of course, creative businesses. There are going to be people who live in a full abundance, that the money just flows to them, their friends, the people, everybody comes to them. Because that what happened there is impossible to explain it. So these were just the really, really little fractions of the stories that I have. I don't want to spend here for hours to talk about it, but I just to say that those of you who don't believe in energies and say, I will find my way to union, I will figure this out, I block them, I do this meditation for this, and the meditations are absolutely beautiful, please do them. But if you're looking for a real change, if you're looking for a real new timeline, then connect to the energy of Kundalini. Connect to the energy where it started from. That is your answer you're looking for. That is where its magic will begin. So I'm going to end today because it was absolutely beautiful to spend time with you again over here, and thank you for being here. I just go through, like I said, the Lionsgate tickets. As soon as they are now transferred to over a new website, you can buy them. So just keep an eye on twinflameawakeningjourney.com. You can get your tickets from there, and it's a full day event, or you can join only one session if you want to. But I really, really would tell you, do not miss it. On 19th of July, we're going to have our next workshop preparing us for the Lionsgate. So you want to be in the highest timeline, in the best frequency, where you are going to make this year magic for yourself. So don't miss this. 19th of July on Patreon, and 8th of 8 we have a next workshop. Then of course Cyprus retreat. Now the only thing is I have to tell you that Cyprus retreat is right now the last retreat what we have. Meaning of, I don't know if we're gonna have the next ones. Like I said, I'm waiting for the green call. However, the soul will tell me. One thing is sure, Cyprus is confirmed. So those of you who feel Cyprus retreat will be deep subconscious and deep nervous system. It's most probably in that sense where you learn how you are in charge of everything and how you can do it. So there are very strong workshops included, and like I said, you can get a day pass, you can get 2 days, 3-day pass. You don't have to stay the full retreat. The only beauty of a full retreat is that you become one with the family, and you will have forever a friend who will support you, hold your hand when you don't know what's happening. And what else? I will be back from the mid of July for the calls, so twinflameawakeningjourney.com. So those of you who feel that they would like to upgrade themselves to the best timeline before Lionsgate, absolutely available. Or if you want to talk about your journey, if you feel you're stuck, if you don't know the answers, I'm here. And like I said all the time, that the help is on your way. It's not far from you. Don't wait for it to happen. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your kindness. And thank you for everyone who filled my heart on Italy retreat. This love will stay with me for lifetimes. And lots of love and lots of light. And I see you very soon.
I could feel it in my bones. There was something going on that shut it down, hanging around, got old. 'Cause darling, there was nothing right. All you seem to do is lie. Those days are gone. I'm walking tall. might be shaken but not stirred. Just a lesson that I've learned, and so it goes. Tables turn.